Jewelry is so personal, and that's what I think is so lovely about it. It just has such a permanence to it. You can wear it for years on end, and then you can also pass that on to somebody, connect generations. So it speaks of timelessness. Design is something that my brain just does. Like I'll walk into a room and I just want to organize and group things. And design, I guess, is a way of thinking for me. Jewelry just really complements that. A line and a texture and a gemstone. And, I can take those elements and move them around to combine something that just has harmony and something that's very pleasing to me. You have to think about the end user. So it's not just of something that's attractive. It's like it has to be functional. How does it hang on the ear? How does that feel on a person's hand when they wear it? So there's also that connection that you have with the human form and thinking about who's going to be wearing that in the end. I start making a piece of jewelry first by thinking about it and designing it. And then I sit down at my workbench and start right in on the metal. There's something about sitting at my bench for 3 hours, filing and cutting. There's just kind of a meditative quality to it, and sometimes I don't even realize time passing. And what I find can happen is the piece might not be exactly how it was in my head when I finish it, but sometimes working through a design, you can have these inspirations that can happen while you're working with the metal, and I tend to just follow those until I get the completed piece. Inspiration comes from usually my environment. Sometimes it's nature, whether it's the shape of a leaf, and sometimes it's even just the shape of a gemstone. I'll buy an interesting gemstone and it's a different shape. Inspiration can come from a lot of different areas. I'm just always trying to be open to it. Once I have a completed design in metal, I will then go through the molding process, and that is then how I can cast and reproduce that. I can then make 6 more of those, in a third of the time. But there is something about it to me that's just kind of magical. I feel like a sorcerer with a torch, and then by melting silver and then using centrifugal force to inject that molten silver into that negative space, you're left with these components that I can then make jewelry out of, and I just still find that so magical every day. To think about where my jewelry travels to, or who's wearing it, or who's giving it as gifts. I still remember the first time I saw a piece of jewelry that I had made on someone that I didn't know. That still gives me a thrill every time I see it. I know I'm done when the piece is shiny and I put an ear hook on it, or I set a stone in it, and then it's a ring that's finished, and I put it on my hand and go, yeah, that's done, and file it away, and that just always makes me happy. I'm just really excited that people are starting to appreciate handmade things, and they're appreciating the story behind them. Because there is that division between things that are handmade and then what, I would consider assembled. I would never get that same kind of satisfaction if I just sat down and looked on some websites online and ordered it in, put those together simply, and then called it a piece of jewelry I made. And I think jewelry has such a rich history, and it is such a craft. It would be a shame to lose that human touch. I think people are really hungry for that and appreciate it and search it out. I think the people that make a living out of that is just, you cannot stop it from happening. It's the true act of creation, I think, is what that is. When you know that you've done every step along the way, it's just very satisfying, and I couldn't imagine doing it any other way.